Hello, you are watching the Pure Passion Biz Podcast with Akua Hinds. I am your host, Akua Hinds, and today I'm so pleased to be interviewing Linda Yao. Linda is a financial services provider who is based in the Toronto, Ontario area in Canada, where we're both in the Greater Toronto area. She is a financial agent and senior manager with Experior Financial. She services really clients of all ages, but she tends to focus on especially serving clients who are over the age of 45 and living North America wide, so in Canada and in the USA. Hello, Linda. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, you are most welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that I have an absolute passion for, and that is travel. And I think a lot of travelers are well, if they're a seasoned traveler, maybe they know some tips and some tricks about how to manage finances while traveling. But there are several people who could definitely benefit from your expertise. So I wanted to ask you some questions today. Extensive travel. It's a goal that many people dream of doing when they achieve their retirement goals. What are some of the common travel goals that most of your clients mention to you, Linda?
My clients love to travel, and some of them love already bought their RVs and traveling across Canada, and some of them are in the U.S. I guess when you can drive. Some of them love to go on cruises. They go 6 months, 8 months at a time, and some of them just love to go some adventure trips. And from there, they would love to. Maybe I was even thinking of maybe climb the Everest.
Oh, that's one of your travel bucket list goals?
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting. How exciting. I know somebody who got very close to climbing the top of Mount Everest. I don't think she got right to the top, but she's always been athletic and she made it happen. So it's pretty
All right.
amazing. Yes. And many financial service professionals, they encourage people to create emergency fund accounts for rainy day moments, like unexpected financial hardships and emergencies, like if you need to fix your plumbing or get a new washer or dryer, things that are needing to be replaced and you didn't expect it to need to be replaced so soon. Do you recommend that each person create a separate account specifically for travel plans?
Well, if the travel itself is costing a lot of money, I would suggest you do that because then you can differentiate between the expenses on a daily basis and the ones that you want to save for travel. But it's only $1,000, $2,000. You can probably do without it, but it's a good idea to have one if it's substantial amount.
Okay. Now, by substantial amounts, do you think that travelers should be thinking about how far away their travel destination is from where they actually live? Like we're in the Greater Toronto area in Canada right now. If somebody wants to travel to New Zealand for the first time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
quite a distance, right? Should they have a specific fund just in case because they are traveling such a long distance from home?
Um, yes and no, because it's not so much the travel distance. Sometimes you get a really good deal. And even to New Zealand, maybe it's, they have a deal that you can get it for, 25% off or 30% off. So it's substantial. But it's all depends on your personal, how you want to manage your money. So if you have to have a different bucket for different things, then by all means, create an account, then you put the money in there. Basically, I know different bank accounts allow you create sub accounts, and that's how you can do it.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. That's great to know. What are your top three money saving tips for travelers while they're actually on their vacation?
Oh, there are lots, but top three. Number one is if you can have someone to go with you, being girlfriend or boyfriend, it'll cut down your costs for sure, because then your common accommodation and common travel costs in terms of taxi or Uber is less. And the other thing is you wanted to use your credit card. And because a lot of credit card give you rewards. And so if you use the credit card and you pay it off, then you get this reward in your card, and that will help you, in future travel as well, air miles, whatnot. And the last thing is you may want to consider living in a hostel if you're really budget conscious, because residency such as YMCA or things that cheap Airbnb that could get you a big bang for your buck.
Well, those are great tips. And you mentioned credit cards. I do agree. I think that taking credit cards when you travel is absolutely important, because if you want to rent a car, that's pretty much impossible to do if you don't have a credit card. They will not rent you a car. The car rental companies will rarely rent you a car if you don't have a credit card. And same thing with some hotel chains. What about travelers' checks? Do you think that travelers' checks are still valid? Do you think that they're still important to have? I know that, maybe 20, 30 years ago, they were very common, but do you think they're common now?
They may be common, but there's a lot of fraud going around with a traveler's check, because people can duplicate it and they use the same check over. And so there are a lot of companies or restaurant, they don't take traveler's check anymore.
Oh, that's very
You need to
important.
be aware of that, yes. And even cash, a lot of companies don't take cash because you can really print money. So they're very cautious.
One of the things that I'm always surprised by whenever I travel now is that I remember how it was, when I was traveling as a child and as a teenager and as a young adult and all. I am just so shocked by the amount of airlines that will not take cash. Even if you want to
Oh,
pay
I don't
for
take cash.
it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And that is just something that I think that if someone hasn't traveled in a long time, they need to know that that's a very new trend now. They'll need to have not even a debit card, they want a credit card on the airlines.
Yes, they want a credit card, because on the credit card actually guarantees, the money for the airline.
Hmm. And should travelers carry a significant amount of cash with them as they travel? And if so, how much do you recommend?
Well, it depends how long you're going to be away. So for a day, maybe a couple $100, but for a week, maybe $500 to $1,000 a week. But I wouldn't take too much cash. The reason is if you get robbed and you lose it all. And whereas credit card, at least if they take the credit card, you can claim from the credit card and get your money back. They're less risky in that sense. So don't take too much cash, but take a little bit, so that if something happened to your credit card, you have ways to get home.
Okay, so no more than $500 to $1,000 cash money, and in the currency that someone is going to use it at. So if somebody's in Rome, for instance, 500 to 1,000 euros.
Well, I was in Mexico, and would you believe those taxi drivers will now take Mexican peso? They want American dollars. So wherever you go, take American dollars, even Canadian dollars. I don't think they want, but they want American dollars. So yeah, it's one of those things that when you're in another country, the U.S. dollar still speaks for itself.
Oh, that is very good advice. I've noticed that when I travel when I travel outside of North America, there are some places where they'll readily accept the US dollar. Any other type of currency, not so much. They don't even want their own currency sometimes. They prefer to get the US dollar, because in some countries, getting US dollars is a little more, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's not as easy to get from their banks as it is for us, who we have our own Canadian dollar, of course, but we can easily access American dollars. And of course, and people who live in the States, they can, of course, access it. So Thanks for sharing that. Great tip there. And which methods should would-be travelers use to determine if they want to go to, if where they want to go to is actually an affordable destination for them? I mean, we all have these travel dreams, but we have to be realistic too. So I remember when I was working at a travel rewards company, and one of my colleagues was saying that her former coworker at the previous place that she worked at took his family, his wife, his children to Disney World. And, it cost over $10,000, and that was quite some time ago for a family of four. So, what methods do you think that someone should use to determine on whether or not they can actually afford their travel goal?
Well, typically, if you have a destination you want to go and the time you want to go, you probably already know how to find out what it costs. You can go check on the airlines and the hotel during that period of time. So you can budget for that. But if you have a strict budget, let's say you want to go somewhere, but you really don't want to go, no, you don't know exactly where you want to go, but you have $800, you want to go somewhere, I would go to Last Minute Club or Expedia or any of the traveling site to search for anything that's on sale, especially, a lot of them, the last minute, if you're 2 weeks away, they really want to get rid of all their rooms and cruise ship. So they actually go on sale quite a bit. Some of them you can get up to 75% off. So if you're doing that kind of travel, you can make a lot of traveling for a small amount of time and small amount of money. So yeah, if you're with budget and you don't care what time, where to go, just search.
Fantastic tips. I've never used the last minute club myself. When I travel, I like to plan everything out well in advance. But
Even Club Med, I think in the last, it's like before the trip starts, and if they have a room available, they will try to sell it off.
Great tip. I'm definitely going to consider that in the future. Even though I'm a very careful planner, sometimes you just have to be spontaneous.
Just have to be spontaneous. Exactly.
Yeah. Many people enjoy mixing business trips with family time trips if they're able to. How can someone determine if their trip is tax deductible?
Well, if you are employee of a company, you have a business trip, and typically your portion of it is paid by the company, unless they give you permission to bring your wife and your children. But typically your portion is, and their portion is not deductible or expendable. But if you have your own company, typically one time or twice a year, you can write off shareholder meeting. But again, you shouldn't try to write it off, 50% of your income to one trip, because that's not reasonable. I would then suggest you ask your accountant before you take the trip to see what portion of it is you can write off, and then go from there.
And that's very valuable information too. And I know you also have an accounting background, so really appreciate getting that tip from you. And lastly, which travel expenses can be deducted as tax write-offs? You hear a lot of self-employed people say that, well, if you give your business card to someone who you meet when you're traveling, and you're talking to that person about your business, that's considered, that could be considered a business expense while you're traveling, so you can write the whole trip off it. Is that true, or are there certain
No,
specific?
yes and no. Because typically, if you, let's say, go to Los Angeles, and you're telling the government you're going there for a trade meeting or whatever, then you have to probably prove that you actually were there, which trade, which meeting you were at. All depends, again, how many times you're doing this. So if you're doing, 20 times a year, that's a little bit overkill. So once or twice is probably okay. But still, the government may still want you to prove, if you were in Los Angeles, such and such a day, show me which meeting were you at, what conference was it, who you met there, and so on. Yeah. So you
Okay.
do need when they question it. Sometimes you get audited, you don't get audited, it's fine. You get audited, you may have to prove that kind of stuff.
So then travel receipts should be saved for at least 7 years then? All travel receipts?
6 or 7 years, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Linda, thank you so much for sharing your um, financial tips with regards to travel, and so appreciate all of the insights that you shared. I'm sure that the guests watching are going to learn a lot from you, and you can connect with Linda through her links, which are posted in the description box. Thank you very much for appearing on the podcast today, Linda.
Well, thank you so much, Akua. Could you tell me what can I do to help you to promote your business?
Oh, thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. So, as you know, I'm a business marketer, journalist, performing artist, and based in the Greater Toronto area, but I do serve customers locally and globally. So, my websites, purepassion.biz and akuahinds.com, have more information about my products and services. So I would love it if you could think of me when you are thinking of singles, for instance. I own 4 dating sites, and I also sell romance products too. So anyone who's single, looking, wanting to connect, would love for my business to be of service. So thank you very much for being such an others focused person, Linda. So appreciative.
For your help. Thank you so much. Looking forward to talk to you again.
Oh, same to you, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day.